Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Raymond Yeung. Here are tonight's top stories. A 17-year-old student who went missing last Wednesday has been found alive in a Ma On Shan country park. China deports Australian journalist Cheng Lei on completion of her jail term for espionage. And Palestinians trapped in the Gaza Strip are running out of food, water, and electricity. 8 days of anguish have ended for the parents of a teenager who didn't return home from school last week. Matthew Tong was found alive in a country park in Ma On Shan, with his parents calling it a miracle. Macy Mock reports.
An 8-day search ended this afternoon when Matthew Yeung was found alive in the Ma On Shan country park. The 17-year-old was barefooted at the time. Rescuers said he was found naked and was given clothes to stay warm and an energy drink for rehydration.
When the fire department, the personnel first reached the subject teenagers, he is able to confirm his identity with us. And afterward, our crew member rendered ambulance to him on spot right away.
Tong was airlifted to Eastern Hospital. Covered in blankets to keep him warm. His parents, who rushed to the hospital, expressed their gratitude to the public and the authorities. I felt the love and warmth of Hong Kongers, said Amy Chan, the boy's mother. Despite the typhoon and the black rainstorm warning, we never gave up. She added that it's a miracle that her son is alive. The Fire Services Department said it was able to reduce the search area by analyzing photos captured by drones. They focus on places with water and dense vegetation. Senior Station Officer Zhen Tinyu said the Form 6 student from the Diocesan Boys' School in Mong Kok did not have a smartphone, making it more difficult to locate him. The inclement weather also hindered the search. Over 200 people, including firefighters, medics, and civil aid service officers, combed the hills before finding Zhang near a bush 100 meters from the main route near Lo Shu Ting Hang, where there was a stream. Officials will wait for him to be treated before they question him on how he was able to survive. Macy Mock, HKIBC.
The government has been urged to lower the stamp duty for second homes in a bid to revive the property sector. A decision is expected in a policy address later this month. Janice Yu reports.
With Chief Executive John Lee set to deliver his policy address in 2 weeks' time, the property market slump was a key issue in a radio talk show today. DAB lawmaker Holden Chow urged the government to lower the stamp duty for residents buying a second home from 15% to 6%. He also suggested that those coming to Hong Kong under a scheme to attract talent be exempt from stamp duty. But they should pay up if they leave the city before qualifying as a permanent resident. Karina Wong of accountancy firm CPA Australia also called for lower stamp duties. She said those who qualify for the Capital Investment Entrance Scheme should pay the same stamp duty as local residents for their first home. Non-permanent residents currently have to pay an additional 15%. Janice Yu, HKIBC.
People in vulnerable and high-exposure groups have been urged to get flu and COVID vaccine shots at the same time as winter approaches.
I think the recommendation is based on being prudent, cautious, just make sure we've got some of the most updated vaccine on hand to prevent the highest risk group. And these are the old folks as well as the handicapped people, about 80,000 of them living in their homes.
Lau and other experts met today to discuss a new vaccine that targets the Omicron XBB variant. He warned that the virus may spread faster in the cooler months. Though COVID cases may decrease over time, Lau said flu infections are increasing. Hong Kong's legal sector has been urged to contribute to the Belt and Road Initiative. At a forum today, Chief Executive Cheng Lei said the government will also do its part to promote the initiative. Here's Macy Mock.
Liaison Office Deputy Director Liu Guangyuan has hailed Hong Kong's legal sector as an important participant, contributor and beneficiary in the Belt and Road Initiative. His remarks came as top Beijing and Hong Kong officials attended a forum organized by the Law Society to mark the 10th anniversary of President Xi Jinping's campaign to boost regional trade.
擦亮香港法治这一金字招牌。
Liu described the city's rule of law as a signboard plated in gold and urged the legal sector to do its part by actively participating in international exchanges. The summit came a day after Beijing published a white paper on its vision for Belt and Road. Chief Executive Cheng Lei threw his support behind the document, which he said was all-encompassing.
Hong Kong continues to contribute to the efforts of building a global community of shared future under the initiative. Contribute to furthering the Belt and Road Initiative's cause in promoting peace and prosperity. Hong Kong is committed to promoting the use of mediation for resolving international conflicts in an amicable manner.
The third Belt and Road Forum will open in Beijing next Tuesday, with Xi delivering the keynote speech. His Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin is due to attend. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Turning overseas, Australian journalist Cheng Lei has returned home after being detained in China for more than 3 years on national security charges. Her reunion with her 2 children in Melbourne paves the way for the Australian Prime Minister to visit China.
This is an outcome that the Australian government has been seeking for a long period of time. Her matter was concluded through the legal processes in China. That doesn't mean that everything was agreed. What I've said about the relationship with China very clearly is that we will cooperate where we can, we'll disagree where we must, and will engage in our national interest.
My name is Cheng Lei.
Cheng was a presenter with state broadcaster CGTN in Beijing when she was arrested in 2020 and tried behind closed doors last year. This afternoon, Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin said 48-year-old Cheng was deported after serving her sentence. He said the journalist had pleaded guilty and was jailed for almost 3 years. A humanitarian crisis is brewing in the Gaza Strip as its only power plant is on the verge of shutting down, while refugee camps are running low on food and water. More than 2,100 people have been killed on both sides as the fighting between Israel and Hamas enters a 5th day. Sirens howled throughout the night at Ashkelon, the Israeli coastal town which has come under rocket attacks from the Palestinian group Hamas for nearly a week. The Iron Dome air defense system was busy intercepting projectiles, while residents were ordered to seek shelter. On its part, Israel has incessantly pounded ports and neighborhoods in the Gaza Strip with missiles. But civilians in a tiny enclave are not protected by advanced security systems. It was utter devastation in the neighborhood of Ramal, where most government complexes were located. Asked if they were able to distinguish between civilian and military targets, the Israeli military said it was not so simple. A spokesman said certain residential buildings were targeted either because there was a weapons cache or a Hamas kingpin was holed up there. But Palestinian authorities said apart from homes, schools and even medical institutions were reduced to rubble. The situation could worsen quickly, as the only power plant in Gaza is facing a complete shutdown after running out of diesel under Israel's total blockade. A United Nations relief agency said it has roughly 12 days of food and water left for its overcrowded refugee camps. To counter the negative publicity, the Israeli military took journalists to a community attacked by Hamas last week. All signs are pointing to an escalation in the fighting as Israeli troops prepare to enter Gaza, as the first American shipment of advanced weaponry arrived in Israel. On the other hand, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan confirmed that talks were underway with Israel and Egypt to create a safe passage for civilians in Gaza to flee their homes. A senior European Union official has branded Israel's siege of the Gaza Strip as illegal, saying its right to self-defense must conform with international law.
It means no blockage of water, food or electricity to a civil population in Gaza, to open humanitarian corridors, to facilitate people who has to escape the bombing of Gaza.
Every hour without electricity, without power, every hour without proper access to clean water raise any number of concerns for people's health and for the ability of those responding. We hear from the hospitals, without power, you can't do much, frankly.
Hong Kong stocks have posted strong gains on hopes of positive economic data from China on Friday. The Hang Seng Index closed 1.3% higher. Precision lens manufacturer Sunny Optical was one of the biggest gainers, shooting up 12.2%. An increase in shipments of handset lenses and handset camera modules was a contributing factor. SMIC rose 6.7% after smartphone maker Huawei, which uses its chips, predicted that sales will double next year. Precision technology stocks were the flavor of the day, with Xinyi Solar picking up 7.2%. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index ended the day up by 228 points. The top 10 active stocks: Tencent picked up $2.80, Meituan was up $4.20, while Alibaba was up by $1.20. BYD Company was up $4.60, while Sunny Optical was up $6.45. The forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar, the euro's at 8.29. 1,000 Japanese yen will get you 52 Hong Kong dollars, while the Australian dollar is at 5.01. Over in Europe, the London FTSE is currently up 16 points. Finally, the weather. Some rain patches tomorrow morning, followed by sunny intervals. Temperatures will range between 24 and 29 degrees. Expect a low of 25 degrees in the coming days as autumn approaches. And that's it for the main news for Wednesday night. Join us for more news at 11. Good evening.